Okay, so the main three things when you're upgrading, of course, is just Star Force Flames and Potential.
Hmm.
So I'll basically just go through this stuff and see what you have right now, and then get like a general idea of where you're at. You're a Kinesis. Okay, I can see some blocks underneath the HP bar, so that definitely looks like a Kinesis PP. Okay. Do you have like a separate mesofarming character?
Well, I made some farm on my Kinesis.
Okay.
That's the whole gameplay.
So do a combination.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And this is your. Do you already have both separate sets, or is this just like
Yeah.
both of them?
I have like damage gear and like mason and top ranger.
I see. Wow, that's some Chaos Horntail pendant potential right there.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I was not aiming for that.
Well, it's damage gear now.
Hmm.
Okay. That's probably same with the condensed power crystal.
Yeah.
That's really. I mean, that's fine. I had that for a while too. Trickster damage pants. Okay. 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 This is all with money that you made with the Kinesis?
Well, first I had a mason farmer that was 162 and it farmed at MP3, and then
Mm-hmm.
it got removed.
Yep.
So
And you
then I
didn't
started
want to
farming on
like,
my Kinesis.
yeah, you didn't want to like remake one, so you just
No,
funded the Kinesis
and I
instead,
was
and then
already close to Arcana.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, good point. And now you're making a bunch of nodes and getting very strong there.
Yep.
You know, 242, nice. Okay. Well, if you can get 30% magic attack, then you might as well get a 12% intellect line as the as the third line. It's decent for an emblem. It's better than what I have. Seems like a good flame. Left server. Okay. Okay. Alright, there's some work here. Okay, well, you got like a lot of stuff to 17 star. Did you do that
Yes.
during like a recent event, or?
I finished my Abso gear today,
Okay.
and the previous items I did on the storefront.
Nice. And there's another 30% coming up
Yeah.
in not too long. But you got your eyes on those kind of events that you're looking out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, and 3-line monocle out of nowhere. Nice. Some good stuff. Oh, that's like an old monocle, right? Because no flame on it.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. All right. So currently, it's like you have some items that would eventually probably just become drop rate stuff. But right now they're being used for damage, right?
Yeah.
And you're doing like Helix every day
Yeah.
and getting unlucky with the drops, I assume.
Yeah. I have one other superior pendant,
Mm-hmm.
but not good yet.
But just not upgraded yet, or
No.
okay. Yeah, because eventually, but you're using the earrings, right. So you don't need it right now because you have the 4-set
Hmm.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're kind of like trying to figure out like how do you make the next big jump towards?
Yeah. I was like, should I go for the Abso weapon or like straight for the arcane weapon?
Mm-hmm.
What's the
Well, the problem is droplets there, right?
Yeah.
How are you on those?
I think I have like 55 now.
Well, if you want to make it, you need 240.
Yeah,
It's just a
I
lot.
still have to do Lucid as well.
I mean, if you have no problem, like you can probably, yeah, you can be part of a normal Lucid party without any problem.
I already am.
Yeah.
My party cleared this week, but I crashed during the run.
Oh, yeah. You asked like, during what part did you crash? Was it phase 1?
Phase 2.
Yeah, I think if you clear during phase 2, that you can't requeue. Did you try it to queue in the?
Not yet.
Yeah, just go to the boss menu and just see if you can queue up. That's the best way to check. But I think if you DC during phase 2, that you can't go in again, sadly.
No, I can. Oh wait. No, I cannot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so let's look at the. Let's look at progression real quick. So how much stat are you at right now? Wait, let me guess. Let me guess how much stat you're at. Looking at these numbers. Cheating a little bit and seeing how much stat my characters are at. Are you at like 34?
No.
Damn. Am I way off?
I'm at 26.
26, okay. Damn, I have so much arcane power. How much arcane power are you at?
I'm at 750 arcane power.
Wait, 750?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess my marksman does have 500 more there. It's quite a lot of stats. Okay. All right. So on overall, your potentials are really, really good. So if you look at your progression, you're getting close to here. Zoom in. Zoom. Okay, there we go. This is 40k. Maybe that's too extreme. Arcane power. Is there anything on here that you're like way behind on? Let's see.
No. I'm working on the app, so I still need to educate and I don't know what.
Yeah, EBSA is going to be a lot, yeah. Oh, and you actually have more stat now than you quote unquote should have because of your secondaries stats.
Yeah.
Are you going for the Princess No secondary?
Eventually.
Okay, eventually. Because I noticed that you have so I was gonna say like your potentials are really good, except for your secondary is like missing a lot of damage.
Yeah. True.
Because yeah, well, you know about magic attack being way better, right? Yeah. So like this is something you can like stick with for a while if you roll it in the beginning. If you're like level, I don't know, like level 210, 220 maybe. But like where you're at, you want to get that extra magic attack here. That's going to give you so much extra damage.
Okay.
So that's definitely like high on the list. However, if you're going for the Princess No secondary, you might as well leave this one where it is, get the Princess No secondary, and then just go crazy on the Princess No secondary, because you can just go crazy on red cubes, and you don't have to worry about ending up with something shitty and then maybe losing a lot of damage. You can just use this one for now and then work on the Princess No secondary. You know how all of that works with like the prequests and the area and everything?
Don't like Princess Never.
Yeah, people don't really like it. So after the first stage, it's important that you have if you have a summon soul. What soul do you have?
Soul, yeah.
Your weapon is not a soul weapon, so you got to make your weapon.
Soul shards.
Wait, you don't have any soul shards?
I do have a lot of them.
Oh, you have a lot of them, yeah. So you got to find a soul enchanter or use those on your weapon to make it into a soul weapon. And then use a soul that has a summon, so that can be like Vellum, Queen, Hilla, like all of these are summons. Okay. And then if you have it charged before you go to Princess No, in phase 2 where you have the little soldiers that spawn and everything, we did it earlier on stream, right? Yeah, if you summon your soul, it just kills all of them in one shot.
Really?
Yeah, and you just blow through the second. The first phase is still annoying with the dinosaur, and it takes like 4 or 5 minutes.
Well, I managed to get through that one, but I just couldn't manage to get through the second phase.
Yeah,
I
there's
didn't
just
know
too
about
many,
the
right?
souls.
Yeah, so you want a charged summon soul, and then use that soul in the second stage, summon it, and then it'll just kill the whole floor for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
That'll be a lifesaver for you.
Oh yes.
But you probably have some soul enchanters in your inventory, right? Like the yellow ones,
I
the
have
30%.
I have more than a stack.
Yeah. So you can just throw those on and get like a Queen, Vellum. Those are the easiest ones. Okay, so that's one thing. And then you get Princess No, and then you're gonna use that one to upgrade and to get a better secondary. So that's, but that pretty much covers the potentials, except for what is your total, like if you wear your best gear for drop rate, like what is your total meso obtain and drop rate now?
I have 100 metal. I have drop rate.
100% meso,
Wait,
and then how much drop rate?
let me count. I have a double prime line item drop rate and meso obtain on a Sweetwater monocle.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. One line of meso on Horntail necklace. Another line of meso on Horntail earrings.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 lines of meso on Kana's treasure ring.
Okay.
So that makes 100, and then drop rate's also 100.
Okay. Wait, so you have 2 items that don't have any lines then? Because you have 2 doubles, right? Okay. Well, that's probably fine. You're 100 to 100. That's pretty decent. And then you can still use 2 damage items for your set bonuses and for more damage, so that's nice too. I imagine you were cubing for drop rate and then got your 33% intellect on your monocle or something.
Yes, I got the monocle. Oh, finally, I can cube. No, I got this. No, shit.
Yeah, shit, now you gotta make another one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm so unlucky getting my 33%. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah, it's tough life. Yeah. Okay, shit. Yeah. So the reason I was talking about the second pendant, because eventually you break the what is it called? The boss accessory set right now that you have with the eye in the face and the pendant and all of that, with double superior, and then you switch the earring into the Sweetwater earring. Yeah. That can be a long-term process though. You got to get to Meister to make your Meister earring. Do you know how all of that works?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know how to get to Meister yet, but I'll figure that out.
Yeah, if you check _Meister in the chat, I have a video on how to level that up efficiently and quickly, so you can follow that.
Cool.
And that'll that's a YouTube video that explains that. It also talks about some other stuff, but you can skip through that. It's about like how things become best in slot. Some of that could be useful information for you if you're because now we're talking about like the next stage you go, but if you go from that stage to the one after that, there could be some useful information there, because once you have everything that's like solid potential, all 17-star Abzo, and you want to go and make the jump up to like 20 stars or higher, you can do that in two main ways. One is just making more Abzo gear to back up. If anything blows up, you transfer the trace and you just star force the Abzo. The other way, right? We'll transfer hammering the other stuff, right? Yeah. So the video also talks about which items you can use to transfer hammer into Abzo. So when you see that part, then you can look at it if you want to, or you can like skip through it a little bit to get to the point where it's about leveling up your skill. I imagine that the next thing that's probably going to be useful for you to do is to try to just get everything to 17.
But I'm level nice now.
Yeah, you got the 30% off coming, so you're probably saving up some money right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Meister ring situation, you know how all of that works?
Yeah, get a Meister ring, then with the other rings you can like transfer hammer on your superior, right?
Yep. So one you wear and one you transfer hammer. So eventually you want to make 2. Yeah.
If it booms, you make a new one and cry.
Yep. Or you make like 5 new ones and then get the one that you have to 22 star, and then for the rest of your life you have 3 of them just sitting in your inventory gathering dust. Like someone else we know. Okay, so you know about that. And you have, are you good on like primal essences and shit? Do you have
Oh,
those?
no, 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 I'm not.
Okay. Well, so yeah, that's the vital ingredient there for the ring, and then for the earring, the ingredient there is the confusion fragments. But I talk about in the video as well where you can get them and how you can get those. So
Okay.
I should give you a lot of information. Other than that, in the meantime, what kind of daily bosses do you do? Like you do your symbol dailies. What else kind of dailies do you do?
So the most important dailies for me, I start with the Arcane River dailies.
Mm-hmm.
I also do them on my Kana account, but only two of them
Mm-hmm.
because my Kanas are very weak. Then I do Commercy. Ask if someone wants to do CPQ, but normally nobody responds
Yeah. You can ask in the
because
chat sometimes, like if you ask like every hour or something, and they just don't spam it. But if you ask every now and then, there's usually some people who want. If I see it, I shout it out. I try to help people out to get their
all the
parties
problem
going.
is that I'm on Reboot AU.
Ah, you're in EU. I see. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to mention that in the question. Yeah,
yeah.
it's tricky to find people.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So then I just do all the bosses, including Helix and uh, all the bosses I can do on that day.
Do you do Madman Remaru?
Yeah,
Okay, because that one's a good one for flames, and you can definitely make some gains off of flames. But I think for now, it's best to save your money for the 30% to get all your stuff to 17.
hmm
But I think after that, probably the next because your potentials are like really fucking good. Your Star Force is very decent, but then your flames are actually pretty low, like
yeah.
comparative to the other ones. If you would add up how much, like if I would look through this real quickly, like how much stat you can gain from flaming everything properly, it's probably like 400 to 500 intellect, I think, and that will get like multiplied with your percentages.
How much step do you think I'm on by then?
So you probably have like, I don't know how much, you probably have like 400% stat or something. So that's probably like 2-3k stat that you can gain with better flames, I think.
Okay, cool.
Because everything starts multiplying with each other and it becomes a lot. So if you check
Yeah,
exclamation mark progression, you can see. Do you know about like flame scores and everything? How that works?
kinda, not really.
So basically, when you flame something, it rolls a bunch of random stats,
hmm
and then it throws them into the same pile, and then it gives you a green number, and then boom, here's your number. And it can be kind of confusing because some things are kind of useful, some things are not useful at all. How do you compare certain stats? It can be a bit too much. And you can go to the to the link in the chat and be like, what are all the possible, that was the wrong link. What are all like the possible outcomes for flames? And then you just get a giant fucking list with a whole bunch of numbers, and it's like, what am I looking at? So basically, we what I do and what a lot of people in the community also do is you look at what is the flame score. And so when you're calculating a flame score, you're basically trying to calculate a number that the outcome of the number is how much equivalent of main stat is this flame worth. So it's like 100. If you have 100 stat and nothing else, it's 100 flame score basically.
Okay.
Um, and if you have a bunch of other stuff and it adds up to being 100 as well, it would be roughly the equivalent of just having 100 intellect. So that way you can compare flames to each other better. So you can more easily see, is this flame better? Is this one better? What am I aiming for? So every goal that I
Okay.
set on you want to have about this flame score, you can compare your items to it more easily. And you can compare items with each other more easily by just, you know, apples and apples instead of apples and oranges when you don't really know
Yeah.
which one is better. So in the beginning, you have your main stat. I'm looking. I don't know if you can see it on stream right now. So you have your
No.
main stat times 1. So you just take your main stat, take that number, whatever you get from the flame, of course, and then you add, for you it would be your magic attack, and you apply multiply whatever magic attack you get by 4, because magic attack is more valuable than main stat. It's
Mhm.
about the equivalent of 4 stat. Later on, it gets closer to 3. So, but that's like once you have everything like 19, 20 stars and up, because then you get a lot of magic attack from your Star Force. And then
Yep.
because there's more Star Force, comparatively, main stat becomes a little bit more valuable So it becomes like a power of 3, but for your situation, it's 4 right now. And then any all stat you get from the flame, you multiply that by 8. And then you add that whole number up, and that becomes your flame score. So, so for example, if you're just going to look at your... if you look at your Pink Holy Cup, for example, it gives 40 intellect, no magic attack, and 3% all stat. So that's 40 plus 0 times 4, which is 0, plus 3 times 8, which is 24. So the total is 40 plus 0 plus 24. So that's a 64 flame score on a level 140 item. So, and then when you look in progression, you can kind of see what kind of flame score do you want to be aiming for. So we have the weapons and all the other stuff, because the weapons are kind of by themselves, because the flames depend on the base stats of the item, so it's very, very difficult to put it in like a number like this. So there's you'll see 2 different numbers here. There's non-boss and boss. Do you know how that works?
Not really.
Okay. So when we go to I keep clicking the wrong thing, and that Maui's face keeps popping up. So if you check ! flames, the first link is check if an item is a boss item or not a boss item. You see this link here? This link has a list of all the items that are considered boss items. Items that are considered boss items get get more get better stats, basically. Yeah, and more stats. Basically, if you read the first paragraph here, you can see that as well. So you can get 1 to 4 bonus stat lines, and if you have flame advantage or boss item or KMS flame or whatever people call it, you'll always have 4 lines that give you stats. But if it's not a boss item, it can be 1 through 4. So there's a lot more variance and a lot more chance of shitty outcomes. And the flames themselves also give lower tiers flame results.
Okay.
So
like my Penguin Holy Cup is a boss item and my Sweetwater Monocle is not.
Exactly. So therefore the flame score that you can be expecting should be much lower for the monocle, and therefore the standards that you hold that item to what is considered a good flame is a much lower number, even though it's a higher level item. So that's why in progression I separate them between non-boss and boss.
Isn't like the sweet monocle and worse than other accessories, like Papilletta Smart?
Yes, for example, yeah. However, the Papilletta Mark can be transposed into a Sweetwater Monocle.
And then it gets good.
And then it gets so what you can do, just like you will do with the Meister earring and then transpose it into the Sweetwater, you can do the same thing with the Papilletta Mark, is when you get it to 16 stars, and then you keep flaming it until it gets a very good flame. Like you will be aiming for basically late game, almost end game flame, and then transposing it. So the Meister earring into the Sweetwater earring, the Papilletta Mark into the Sweetwater monocle, and then you will just re-Star Force it and recube it. That way you can get the high bonus stats that you can get because it's a high level item, and you can get the higher tier potential, but you can also get the good flames that you can get because the source item was a boss item, but the target item wasn't. But when you transpose, you transfer the flame stats to the new item. It works differently than you do with Transfer Hammer, because Transfer Hammer takes the flame stats of the target item, not of the source item. So that's why transposing is a neat trick there. And you can see I'm on my Demon Avenger, on my Arc right now, and I have both of them transposed. So you can see that my monocle, even though it is a shitty item, like it's non-boss item, I do have 79 strength, 5% all stat. The 79 is not the base flame. It gets kind of complicated, but basically they take all of the bonus stats from both your Star Force and your flame, they throw it into one pile, and then they try to make it so that the tier of the flame keeps making sense in the level 160, and then but it doesn't want to give you extra stats, so it takes those extra stats off of the blue number. It's kind of confusing, but basically you can see the blue number is plus 103, plus 114, plus 109, plus 114, right?
Yeah.
So it should all be 114. So it took 11 stats, blue stats, off of the blue into the green. So my original flame was 11 stats that went back to the blue, so it was 68, and 5% all stat. So if you compare that, So it's like 8%. Well, I'm later in the game, so for me it's like 8.5 points per 1% all stat. So that's about 42.5 plus the 68. So that leaves you at about 110.5. So like 110 flame score, what I had originally. And then that was good enough for me. And that's what I transposed. And that's when you get the higher percentages, you get the higher bonus stats, but you get the good flame as well. So you can have the best of both worlds, basically. Yeah. Same with the earring.
Feels almost broken.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, over time, definitely keep gathering flames. And then if you have a bunch of flames and they're like about to expire, look at the items and try to cross-reference them with this here. So you're going to be trying to be aiming for these numbers here. And then just look at the items that have the lowest flame scores and just prioritize those. If they get better and they're not the lowest anymore, then flame the thing that's the lowest now. And then gradually you'll be increasing everything and you'll be, it won't be from one day to the next, but you'll be gaining a lot of stat from that.
I feel like, so we look at my weapon, that should be quite a decent flame, right?
Yeah, so the 65 out of 201, that's like 34% or something. I always have to look at the percentages. So we look at magic attack increase for weapons. So you go to flame advantage weapons because it's Fafnir. You go to level 160. And then you have the percentage of the base stat. So you have, I think it's a 30.25%, right? Because it's... yeah, that's what it is. So it's a tier 5 when it comes to attack. And then it also has tier 5 boss damage, tier 5 damage, and tier 4 all stats. So if you look at the progression tab, you'll see like the weapon flame score, what you want to have. You want to have tier 5 plus. So that means have tier 5 in weapon or magic attack, whatever you need, plus something else that's useful. And something else that's useful, that means either boss damage or all stat or stat. And you have 3 of those. So yours kind of counts as I would say like a tier 6 plus. You're like in between these two. So this one is like good enough to keep definitely to until you can upgrade to Abzo. It might be good enough to upgrade all the way into Arcana, but you'll be keeping this for a long time because droplet farming is takes forever. But yeah, when it comes to the other, so that one is definitely good. But yeah, so I have a separate tab for the weapon one because you can't really express it in all stats that way. Like, I guess technically you could multiply it all by all stats again. But that would get pretty weird because why would you be reducing the weapon attack to all stat when the goal is to get weapon attack, right? But yeah, so figure out all of the items that are boss and all of the ones that are non-boss. After a while, you'll be able to figure it out real quick because you can just see how many lines. Like Abzo, all Abzo is boss items. Boss, can't flame. This is considered Tyrant Cape is considered boss. If you look it up in the list, you'll find it as well.
Is Gollux boss?
Gollux is not boss. You'll see it immediately because you'll look at the flame and there's only like 1 or 2 green numbers. That means that there's less than 4, and if it's ever less than 4, it's not a boss item.
Why is Gollux not a boss item?
Because Gollux doesn't exist in KMS.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then GMS would have to specifically for GMS program all of that, and they were like, no.
Lazy ass.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that notwithstanding, Gollux is already overpowered as fuck, so if that was also considered... I think they specifically wanted Gollux and Sweetwater items to not be boss because they were already so good.
Yeah.
This way, people would have a little bit of an alternative and a buffer if they were not using it that they could still... But even things like the Chaos Horntail Pendant, which is part of the boss accessory set, which drops from Horntail, is also not considered a boss item because you can see it just gives you 1 jump, 2% all set. Like, it's not a boss flame.
Yeah.
And if you ever have not a boss flame, it's never going to be a boss flame. So yeah. It's not a boss item. But yeah, so the goals for those are way lower. But like let's say you have so in the end you have 2 superior pendants. You have the Sweetwater Iron Face. You have the Sweetwater Earring. You have the superior belt. and you have the Superior Belt, and you. So that's already like 6 items. If all of those get like 30 stat, that's 180 combined. Like 30 stat isn't that much on one item, but 180 and then multiplied by all your percentages,
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. So, but in the beginning, it's not a priority because your boss items can get a lot of stats on them. Like I'm talking over 100 on Absolab easily, or like equivalent, of course, flame score of over 100. And that all adds up, and that goes very quickly. But then once you start going to the weaker items, you'll see your amount of stat really go up by a lot.
Okay. And one more question: what are all the rings I should get?
Yeah, so the Meister is going to be damage-wise. You're going to be looking towards upgrading to Meister.
Yeah.
Do you have your Kana treasure ring still around?
Yeah, but it got a double crown line Mesa drop.
Ooh, okay. Well, you'll have to use that one. That's
for now.
It's for now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the end game, when it comes to damage rings, you'll have High Star Meister transfer hammered into Superior, and then for the 2 slots that are left, you're basically going to frog leap between your solid, your reinforced, and your Kana treasure. So you'll safeguard them all to 17, and then you're just going to try to get one to 18. If it blows up, then you use the ones that you have left. If it doesn't blow up, you go to the next weakest one and you try to get that one to 18. And you basically keep going like that until one of them booms, and then you equip the 2 that are left.
And stop, storing them.
Yeah, if you boom one, then you stop Star Forcing, and you equip the 2 that are left, and then you go for full damage on those. And that's going to be your end game like damage rings. When it comes to drop rate gear, in the beginning, all the little bits help, but in the end, all of your hybrid gear, so all of the gear that's going to be part of both sets, is going to be so strong, and you're going to have so much arcane power, and your boost nodes are going to be so high that the stats on your drop rate gear actually, like the base stats on the drop gear, doesn't matter at all anymore. So whether it's event rings that you pick up, or it's like a cracked Gollux ring, even, like it doesn't really matter that much anymore at the end. It could start mattering again if you're trying to train at like the Labyrinth and you're trying to one-shot there while wearing Mezzo and drop rate and stuff. Well, you'll have to ditch your drop rate for sure because it's not even necessary there because no droplets drop anyway. So, but like keeping Mezzo obtained and a decent kill speed at those higher levels, then it could start mattering again a little bit. But that's already for like a very small group of people. And we're talking all your other stuff being 20 star plus at that point. So that's like big, that's a long way from now. So yeah, like I would say like event rings if you can get them. I'm pretty sure one of the next upcoming, like this winter update, all of the event rings are coming back if you still need any.
Really?
Yeah, so KMS just had their summer event, and that's going to be our winter event, and like all of the event rings are going to be in the shop. I was actually surprised that our Adventure Island didn't have like any good event rings, and the only ones it did have, you can't even get potential on, so it's a little disappointing. Yeah, that one, yeah. Like it's good for mid game and for non-reboot, but for reboot it's not very good, sadly. Yeah, like something like a Cosmos ring or even a reboot Vengeful ring, like something like that to kind of have people have something to give stats to, but alas.
What about the heart? Because I don't have a heart and I don't know where to get one.
You can get one randomly through recipes, but all of the ones you can make are temporary, and then you would just have to remake them. I think they last like 2 or 3 weeks or something, and then you have to remake them. I find it easier to just not bother with them at all. I just wait. Hopefully, OneDroid comes back.
I did it once before.
Yeah, OneDroid is right now on the stack of events that could come back, but there aren't any concrete plans right now. But it is not. It's not like 100% canceled, but it's also not announced. So hopefully between now and winter, maybe they'll bring it back. I've been trying to push for it to come back, but I mean, there's only so much I can do by myself, of course. But yeah, if there's like, if there's every day there's like a Reddit thread about people wanting to bring it back that has like 100 upvotes, there could be, just saying, there could be a good chance that they might buckle under the pressure. Also, they are constantly struggling to fill everything with events, and if there's something they already have that they can just implement and they know everyone wants it, that's a slam dunk for them as well. So
Yeah. This is kind of forcing Goku high as well because they need to batch.
but yeah, so the one droid is like it's a no-brain because that's best in slot, and
Yeah.
and Hearts has almost no junk lines as well, so that's going to be a very cheap upgrade as well.
Cool.
So save up for now. Definitely look at the 30% Star Force off event for Star Forcing. Then try to get most of your stuff to 17. And then Princess No Secondary. That's a big one. Save up flames if they're as soon as your oldest flames are trying to expire, then just go for a flaming session. I think it would be good to make a list of just what are all your flame scores right now. Make like a list, boss items, non-boss items, and just write down the flame scores somewhere in like a WordPad or an Excel sheet or something. So you have a good point of view of like which ones are weak right now, which ones do I need to upgrade first, and then just once you have a bunch of flames, just start upgrading. I wouldn't drop money on it, but just the ones you get from bosses for now, and then save your money for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, your potentials are like really good, so that's
Yeah, I think that's it, right?
If anything else comes to mind, just ask me in chat, of course, or if there's something you forgot, I'll we can look it over again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the dono and the children in Africa. Thank you as well for the contribution.
Yeah.
And I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Thank you for the support.
Yeah. Thank you as well.
Bye.
Bye.